here at the IES Green Building in Bukit Tinggi. Now, I know that this building has incorporated the latest sustainable technologies to achieve the Building and Construction Authority's Platinum Rating Certification for non-residential buildings, Green Mark version 4.0. Which is the highest standards in environmental impact and performance.
Yes.
Now, tell me, how did this building achieve that?
Design has been a very core part from the onset of the building project. And as you can see, we have incorporated a lot of green spaces across the whole building, such as this, where you have pockets of a garden where people can hang around to share engineering ideas. Yeah. And as you come over here, you realize that we have a solar farm across the entire roof as well, which provides shading, and at the same time, it gains help us cover 25% of our total energy consumption.
IES lends its expertise to key national sustainable development initiatives, including the Singapore Green Plan 2030 and the ABC Waters.
For IES, we will come up with some sustainability roadmap for the next 10 years to support the Singapore Green Plan 2030. And we will work with the community, we will work with the engineering community, we will work with the partners, with people to call IE 10 years.
Sustainable development is a journey into the future that requires the participation of our younger generation. Youths in Singapore are empowered to play a part in environmental sustainability in line with the National Sustainability Agenda, the Singapore Green Plan 2030. The Institution of Engineers Singapore is a key partner in this endeavour. As Singapore moves towards new sustainability targets, engineers will continue to play an imperative role. Engineers are already working hard to support every aspect of the Singapore Green Plan 2030. I'm Eunice Olsen, and it's been such a privilege sharing with you all about our engineers. Now, with their ingenuity and tenacity, Singapore will definitely head towards a better, more sustainable future.
Engineers played a very important role in the early days of nation building, and IES was instrumental from the beginning right up to this day.
joining, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the World Engineering Day, featuring Charles Rudd Distinguished Global Lectures 2026. I'm Ivy, and I'm really honored to be your MC for today's event. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we commence, please take a moment to ensure that all your mobile devices are on silent. For your area, kindly arrive on time at 1:15 p.m., 1:15 p.m., and 2:30 p.m. respectively for your sessions. So please make sure to be there on time at 1:15 and 2:30 p.m. respectively. So for those of you who also require internet access, you will find the Wi-Fi details on the screen very, very soon. So I heard when I was out at the foyer, some of us were wondering if we have Wi-Fi access. We definitely do here at Ngee Ann Polytechnic. So do give us a moment as we pull up the Wi-Fi details on the screen. There you go. So we're going to stay here for the next 10 to 15 more seconds to allow many of you who need Wi-Fi access to connect to it. All right, we're going to stick around here for 5 more seconds. If we're all good, can you give me a thumbs up? We're all good? Okay, some of you are still awake. That's fantastic. Okay, great. Great. So we're going to move on. And last but not least, just want to get your attention to this really important safety message about our convention center. Thank you.
Singapore's international airport to Changi in the 1980s.
Welcome to the Convention Center, the hub of Ngee Ann Polytechnic. In the event of an emergency, a continuous ringing sound from our emergency alarms will be triggered. Please evacuate the convention center through the following routes. For second floor seating, keep a lookout for the exit signs. Proceed to the one nearest to you. After exiting the hall, do not use the lift, but take the stairs down instead. For first floor seating, exit the hall through either side door or the central door. After exiting the hall, keep a lookout for doors with the exit sign and head towards them to leave the building. Upon exiting the convention center, make your way towards Ngee Ann Polytechnic's main entrance, where you can follow this route to the admin field. We appreciate your cooperation in ensuring the safety of everyone, and we hope you will enjoy the program prepared for you at the Ngee Ann Polytechnic Convention Center.
All right, I hope that was a really insightful video. Well, thank you all for joining us today, and we're going to give it a few more minutes as our colleagues and friends slowly start to stream in. So thank you for your attention, thank you for your time, and we'll start shortly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests, it is my great honor to announce the arrival of our guest of honor, Ms. Indranee Rajah, our Minister for Prime Minister's Office, Second Minister for Finance and National Development, joining us. Once again, thanks to all of our engineers here for joining us. We're going to give everybody just a few more minutes to settle down, and we'll begin really shortly. Thank you so much. A very good morning to Ms. Indranee Rajah, our Minister for Prime Minister's Office, Second Minister for Finance and National Development, Your Excellencies and Honorable Diplomats from the Kingdom of Cambodia, Brunei Darussalam, the People's Republic of China, and the Republic of Indonesia. Mr. Lim Kok Kyang, our Principal and CEO at Ngee Ann Polytechnic, Engineer Chan Eugene, our President of the Institution of Engineers Singapore, Engineer Tan Seng Chuan, our President of World Federation of Engineering Organizations, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome. Welcome to our World Engineering Day 2026, featuring the Charles Rudd Distinguished Global Lectures. My name is Ivy, and I'm so honored to be your MC for today. Well, in celebration of the World Engineering Day, today's event is jointly organized by the Institution of Engineers Singapore and Ngee Ann Polytechnic. Held annually, the Charles Rudd Distinguished Lecture Series is a key initiative of IES designed to promote a greater appreciation of engineering. This series honors the late engineer Charles Rudd, a distinguished engineer and, of course, an IES member whose remarkable generosity included a bequest of over $1 million to IES. So the theme for WED 2026 this year, CRDGL, is Engineers and the Future of Engineering, Opportunities of Emerging Technologies, where we'll focus on the impact of the future of engineering through the lenses of artificial intelligence, advancement of emerging technologies, drones, climate change, and coastal protection. A critical aspect will be developing a sustainable mindset among the next generation of our engineering professionals, and IES will strive to ensure that our members are equipped to tackle the future challenges effectively. And we hope attendees like yourself today will gain practical insights into how engineering could contribute to creating a more vibrant and prosperous Singapore. We have an exciting lineup ahead today, and I look forward to sharing this journey together with you. And before we begin, we just want to express our sincere gratitude to our sponsors and partners who have really made this event possible. So first, our gold sponsor, NUS College of Design and Engineering, Our silver sponsors, Mitsubishi and SMRT Corporation. Our bronze sponsors, JTC Corporation, Penn United Corporation, and WeHer Holdings, and many, many of our supporting partners. We're also pleased to share that for today's event, we have really attracted a remarkable turnout. Right now, we have about 450 physical attendees like yourself here with us. And for those of you who are joining us online, thank you. We believe we have 400 and more virtual attendees who are joining us from all around the world today. So next, let us all watch this short highlight video of the main World Engineering event that took place in Jakarta, Indonesia on 4th March 2026, as our series currently is a continuation of the lineup of appreciation for all our engineers globally. Let's watch this video together.
Welcome to the World Engineering Day 2026 at the Balai Kartini Convention Center, Jakarta, Indonesia.
Engineering is not only about designing systems. It's about improving lives. It's about protecting communities. It's about safeguarding our planet for future generations.
In a world marked by uncertainty, conflicts, climate challenge, we must continue to innovate, collaborate, and lead with purpose. That the Engineering Day is not only on the March 4th, but Engineering Day is every day.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. And for those of you who weren't sure if it's to clap, it's always a good time to clap. So thank you so much. And also, without further ado, I want to kickstart our program for today. To kick things off, I would like to first invite Mr. Lim Kok Hyang, our Principal and Chief Executive Officer of Ngee Ann Polytechnic, on stage to deliver his welcome address. Shall we welcome Mr. Lim?
Minister, Prime Minister's Office, Second Minister for Finance, and Second Minister for National Development, Ms. Indrani Raja, Your Excellencies and honorable diplomats from Brunei, Cambodia, China, and Indonesia, distinguished guests, our partners from the Institution of Engineers, Singapore, keynote speakers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you to Ngee Ann Polytechnic for the Charles Ruck Distinguished Global Lectures. We are honored to host this gathering of industry leaders, innovators, and aspiring engineers, united by a shared commitment to advance the engineering profession. World Engineering Day is not just a moment to celebrate engineering achievements. It is also an opportunity to reflect on how engineering must continue to evolve in response to emerging technologies, new industry demands, and increasingly complex global challenges. This is why today's theme, Engineers and the Future of Engineering, Opportunities of Emerging Technologies, is especially timely. Across the globe, rapid developments in AI, manufacturing, robotics, advanced materials, and to change. But engineering progress does not happen in isolation. It depends on strong ecosystems where professional bodies, industry, government, and education institutions such as Ngee Ann Polytechnic must work together to enable the translation of innovation into impact at pace. At Ngee Ann Polytechnic, or MP in short, we see ourselves as an active member and contributor to this broader engineering ecosystem, connecting emerging technologies and sometimes even existing technologies with relevant industry needs and equipping enterprises and professionals with the right capabilities at the right time to solve the right problems. It is in this spirit of collaboration that we are formalizing our partnership with Siemens, SkillsFuture Singapore's appointed Queen Bee in advanced manufacturing, through the signing of a memorandum of understanding today. This collaboration strengthens our joint efforts to advance smart manufacturing and support companies, particularly SMEs, on their Industry 4.0 transformation journeys. Through the MP and Siemens partnership, we provide a smart manufacturing platform where enterprises can explore automation, digital solutions, and data analytics in a hands-on environment. It also serves as a test bed, enabling companies to pilot and validate incremental solutions before implementing them in their own operations. You will have the opportunity to experience our new smart manufacturing platform during the learning journey later today and see how these technologies are being applied in an integrated setting. Complementing this industry-focused collaboration, MP will also be launching a new specialist diploma in smart manufacturing. Developed in collaboration with A*STAR, it is the first polytechnic-led stackable qualification pathway in this area. The program enables cross-recognition of post-diploma certs and selected short courses between MP and A*STAR, and therefore provides mid-career professionals or aspiring I.40, I.4 enthusiasts the ability to actually have greater flexibility to deepen expertise across multiple reputable training providers. I must add that for this program, we also added or included a strong focus on the use of AI for industrial innovation. Together, both these initiatives strengthen enterprise capability and workforce development, and hopefully in the process contribute to the talent pipeline needed to realize Singapore's manufacturing aspirations, our advanced manufacturing aspirations. Beyond institutional efforts, progress ultimately depends also on the ideas we exchange and the perspectives we share. In this regard, we are privileged to have with us distinguished speakers and thought leaders whose insights will deepen our understanding of how emerging technologies are reshaping engineering practices. I'm confident that the conversations and connections forged today will turn new possibilities into practical outcomes that delivers impact. Thank you once again for joining us, and I wish you an engaging and meaningful World Engineering Day 2026, and have a good time in MP. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Lim, for sharing with us the importance of collaboration and partnerships to face future challenges. And he also gave us a glimpse to see what the future of engineering looks like here at Ngee Ann Polytechnic. So next, I would like to invite Engineer Chan Eugene, our President of the Institution of Engineers Singapore, to deliver his opening address as well.
Our guest of honor, Ms. Indranee Rajah, Minister, Prime Minister Office, Second Minister for Finance, Second Minister for National Development. Mr. Lim Kok Kiang, Principal and CEO, Ngee Ann Polytechnics. Engineer Dr. Tan Seng Chuan, President of World Federation of Engineering Organization. Your Excellency and honorable diplomats from Brunei, Cambodia, China, and Indonesia. Distinguished guests, panelists, sponsors, partners, speakers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you to World Engineers Day 2026, the Charles Rudd Distinguished Global Lectures, or CRDGL. Beyond those in this hall, we are also joined by a global community tuning in virtually. I think we have up to now more than 1,000 participants here and virtual. Your presence underscores the international reach of this lecture platform and the wider relevance of today's conversations. Today's gathering is especially meaningful as it takes place in conjunction with World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development. Celebrated on 4 March is a day recognized by UNESCO to celebrate the achievements of engineers worldwide and to highlight the vital role engineers play in advancing sustainable development. Throughout history, engineers have been at the forefront of transformation, from building resilient infrastructure to powering industry, to advancing digital technologies and sustainable solutions. Engineers are not merely problem solvers. We are leaders of transformations. Engineers in Singapore have played a pivotal role in shaping our modern city, designing our transport systems, developing our infrastructures, strengthening our water and energy security, and enabling innovation-driven growth. The CRDJL has grown from strength to strength since its elevation from a lecture series into a global platform. It stayed true to the spirit of late Charles Raj in advancing the engineering profession by convening distinguished experts every year to share insights on the future of engineering. The theme for this year's event, Engineers and the Future of Engineering, Opportunity of Emerging Technologies, is both timely and urgent as emerging technologies are rapidly reshaping industry, infrastructure, and the skills engineers must possess. We are privileged to have Dr. Vicky Bagu, Operating Partner for Emerging Technologies at Temasek Holdings, and Dr. Harbin Chen, Head of Science and Technology Network at British High Commission, as our distinguished keynote speakers today. Together with our panelists, they will provide valuable perspectives on technological transformation and the future skill engineers need, inspire us to act on this important theme. In this year's budget statement, Prime Minister Lawrence Wong reaffirmed Singapore's push into artificial intelligence. Government current emphasis includes advanced manufacturing, transport connectivity, finance, and healthcare. AI will not stop in these sectors. The real question is whether we are prepared to harness it responsibly and to our advantage. This makes life learning essential. As technologies evolve rapidly, engineers must pair internal depth with digital fluency, from AI and data analytics to automation, cybersecurity, and ethics, while fostering a forward-looking and sustainable mindset in the next generation. At IAS, we are committed to equip our members to remain relevant, competent, and future-ready. This afternoon, we will witness the launch of 3 key Singapore standards and technical reference developed by Enterprise Singapore and IAS SDO. In addition, as a skill development partner, IAS together with Skill Future Singapore and National Transport Academy have launched a skill pathway for EV technical specialists to support Singapore's transition to electric mobility. Today's event also marks the launch of Ngee Polytechnic and Siemens Smart Manufacturing Platform. This reconfigurable platform enables companies, especially SMEs, pilot Industry 4.0 solution before deployment. I also commend MP Ngee Poly for introducing Singapore's first stackable specialist diploma in smart manufacturing developed with A-Stars. Together, these efforts strengthen our manufacturing ecosystem and future-ready workforce. This year is also a special milestone for IAS as we celebrate our 60th anniversary. For 6 decades, our institution has unified engineers across disciplines and supported Singapore's transformation through engineering excellence. In commemoration of this milestone, we will later unveil the commemorative IAS 60 logo, symbolizing both our heritage and our forward commitment to the future. Ultimately, the future of engineering will not be defined by technology alone. It will be defined by engineers, our mindsets, our values, and a willingness to learn, innovate, and lead transformation. On this World Engineering Day, let us reaffirm our shared responsibility as engineers to design solutions that improve lives, to build resilient communities, and to create a more sustainable world for the future generations. Let us seize the opportunity of emerging technologies, equip ourselves with new skills, and continue to position Singapore as a trusted, future-ready leader in engineering excellence. The future will be shaped by engineers, and it's ours to build. Wish everyone a fruitful, inspired session ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Chan, for the sharing. And now I'd like to invite Engineer Dr. Tan Seng Chuan, our President of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, on stage to share his welcoming address as well.
Good morning. Ms. Indrani Raja, Minister in Prime Minister's Office and the Second Minister for Finance and National Development. Your Excellencies, Honorable diplomats from the Kingdom of Cambodia, Brunei Darussalam, and People's Republic of China and Republic of Indonesia. Engineer Chan Eugene, Presidents of the Institutions of Engineers Singapore, Mr. Lim Kok Kiang, Principal and CEO of Ngee Ann Polytechnic. Colleagues of IES, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to extend my warm greeting as we gather for Charles Roth Distinguished Global Lecture in celebrations of World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development 2026 in Singapore. This year, the theme of World Engineering Days 2026 is Smart Engineering for Sustainable Future through Innovation and Digitizations. The theme highlights how essential engineering is to achieving the Sustainable Development, particular SDG number 9 on industrial innovations and infrastructure. It is also clearly reflect the directions in which our profession must advance. Today, engineering is no longer only about constructing physical infrastructure. It is about integrating emerging technology to deliver solutions that are sustainable, inclusive, and future-focused. In this regard, the theme of this year's Charles Roth Distinguished Lecture, Engineers and the Future Engineering, Opportunity for Emerging Technologies, align closely with both the theme of World Engineering Day 2026 and the missions of World Federations of Engineering Organizations, and this align in particular meaningful in advance the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Singapore has long demonstrated how strategic investment in engineering, innovations, and education can enhance national competitiveness while contributing to regional and global developments. As a leading professional institution, IES play an important role not only within Singapore, but in fostering partnership across Asia Pacific and beyond. Its efforts reflect a long institution commitment to strengthen the engineering professions and promote international collaborations. This year, in January, the Executive Board of WFEO convened in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, for a strategic planning retreat to reflect on organization's role and to chart the future trajectory of global engineering developments. In this global, forward-looking and dynamic setting, we reaffirm WFEO's commitment to serve as the world-leading engineering voice for sustainable and resilient future. The deliberations in Dubai generated strong momentums and helped to clearly define our priority for the years ahead. As climate-related disasters continue to grow in frequency and severity, and as sustainability challenges become ever more complex, WFEO is deepening its dedications to support the country and community most in need of engineering leaderships, technical expertise, and capacity developments. On 4th March, during the World Engineering Day celebration in Jakarta, Indonesia, we formally announced the launch of a new significant initiative that will provide technical guidance and strengthens the institution capacity of national engineering body, support adaptations and resilient planning in regions most vulnerable to the impact of climate change, mobilize global engineering expertise to address water security, the energy transitions, resilient infrastructure, and disaster risk reductions, advance youth engagement and professional development to empower the next generations of engineering leaders. This initiative represents the engineering solidarity at its highest form, a global profession acting collectively, responsibly, and with purpose to safeguard community, fortify infrastructure, and secure a sustainable future for our planets. Emerging technology are reshaping industry, transforming economy, and redefining how we address global challenge. Engineers are at the center of these transformations, and greater collaboration between Singapore and other countries, including the least developing country. Through knowledge exchange, joint research program, professional mobility, and shape the standards will be critical to ensure that emerging technology are deployed responsibly and inclusively. On behalf of the World Federations of Engineering Organizations, I congratulate the Institutions of Engineers Singapore for hosting these important global celebrations and for its continued leadership in advancing engineering excellence. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Dr. Tan. And now it is my great pleasure to invite our guest of honor, Ms. Indrani Raja, Minister for Prime Minister's Office, Second Minister for Finance and National Development, on stage to deliver her address. Minister Indrani, please.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Seok Kun of the Kingdom of Cambodia to Singapore, Mr. Lim Kok Kiang, Principal and CEO of Ngee Ann Polytechnic, Engineer Chan Yu Jin, President of the Institution of Engineers Singapore, Engineer Tan Seng Chuan, President-elect of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, Mr. Mervyn Sirisena, Chairman for the World Engineering Day 2026, Charles Rudd Distinguished Lectures, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to join you here today at the Charles Rudd Distinguished Global Lectures. Don't think I've actually been in a room so full of engineers ever before, so I'm in very distinguished company. I wanted to say here that, you know, it's a celebration of World Engineers Day. It's also recognition of what engineers have contributed to Singapore, to the world, and to recognize that engineering excellence lies not merely in technical expertise, but in adaptability and resilience in the face of unprecedented challenges. Our commitment remains clear, which is to engineer progress that enables buildings to stand strong, our communities to stay connected, and our cities to thrive. In our era of rapid technological evolution, the engineer's capacity for creative problem solving and agility has never been more crucial to our collective future. The future of Singapore is inextricably linked with the future of our engineering profession. Over the next 10 to 15 years, we will undertake some of the most ambitious engineering projects in our nation's history. We will build at least 80,000 new homes across more than 10 new housing areas island-wide. We will construct Changi Airport Terminal 5, redeveloped Paya Lebar Air Base into a new generation town. We will unlock the potential of the Greater Southern Waterfront and create Long Island to build homes and enhance coastal protection along the East Coast. There'll be many other things that we do that will need engineering capability and expertise, including aviation, aerospace, maritime. All these projects hinge on our engineering capabilities, and each presents unique engineering challenges that will test the profession's ingenuity. To transform our plans to reality, we need engineers with determination, innovation, and that can-do spirit to achieve the extraordinary. To accomplish our ambitious development plans, we need many more engineers and built environment professionals. In last week's COS, I think I said we need something like 1,000 per year for architects and engineers. We must therefore plan for the future of the profession and build the pipeline of engineers accordingly. Last year, the Task Force for Architectural and Engineering Consultants, which I co-chaired with Mr. Charlie Ma, the chairman of Sabana Jurong Group, launched a suite of 11 recommendations to strengthen the built environment pipeline and its transformation. We have doubled down on efforts to position the sector as a career of choice by improving HR and career development support and supporting workplace well-being. We've also launched the Inspire internship program that deepens on-the-job learning, improves mentorship, and enables higher starting salaries for built environment graduates. And I'm glad that the industry has responded strongly, and the first batch of interns have been onboarded. We are encouraged by the promising early results with an increase in students applying for and enrolling in civil engineering and the architecture courses in the recent academic year. And we will press on with efforts to attract our fair share of the best and brightest to join the built environment sector. And these strategies, of course, would apply to engineering across the board, not just in the built environment, but for M&E, for aviation, for aerospace, for computer engineering, all the other disciplines of the engineering sector. But just one thing I want to encourage you all to do, because I think pipeline, the engineering pipeline is important. And you know, our national TFR has been on a slightly downward trajectory. I think your engineering TFR has also been on a slightly downward trajectory, or with a slight uptick in the last year. And there are a couple of things that you might need to bear in mind. One is that there is such a thing as a generational or cohort mindset difference. I look around the room today and I see many, like myself, are actually the baby boomer generation. And we grew up in certain circumstances with certain experiences, certain global events which have shaped our thinking, our attitudes towards life, job, and just, you know, how we approach things in general. Each cohort, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, Millennials, and the next one, Gen Alpha, will actually be shaped by different experiences. So their mindset is not the same. And if you want to solve the puzzle of how to attract more and recruit more into the engineering profession, you have to understand the generational mindset of that particular generation that you are seeking to recruit. And currently, I think it's the millennials and the Gen Zs. And what they are searching for is purpose and fulfillment, even as much as they look at starting salaries and remuneration. So I think one thing that the engineering profession as a whole must do is help a younger generation to understand, what is your value add? Why even be an engineer? What is it that engineers do that make a difference to the world? And if you can help these younger generations understand the value and purpose of engineering, that is what will attract them to the profession. And indeed, engineers do so much. Engineers literally help make the world go round. Engineers keep us up in the air. Engineers send us into space. Engineers send us to the depths of the ocean. Engineers will be the ones that make the difference in a time of climate change. And if you can help the millennials, Gen Z, understand your value proposition, I think it will make a big difference. The other thing, of course, is also you have to remember that the generations are not the same. So once you finish pitching to the millennials and Gen Z, you'll have to start thinking about how to recruit Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha is currently in secondary school. So they will have a different mindset, and you will have to approach them differently as well. So just those thoughts on recruitment. The next thing I think I wanted to touch on is the general approach in the sector. One of the other strategies to strengthen our pipeline is the Built Environment, or the BE Care Charter, which focuses on supporting professional well-being and greater project partnership within the sector. This initiative recognizes that a supportive professional environment is essential for both current practitioners as well as future talent. Together, we're turning these recommendations into concrete actions that will attract and retain talent in engineering and other built environment professions. But our vision extends beyond filling positions. We want to cultivate a generation of engineers who will tackle challenges that we cannot yet imagine. Climate change, resource scarcity, and technological disruption will require engineers who can think systematically, collaborate globally, and adapt continuously. As we transform Singapore's landscape, we must also transform how we build. The built environment sector faces pressing challenges such as rising construction costs, labor shortages, and the need for faster project delivery. These challenges require us to fundamentally rethink our approach to construction and engineering. We're moving beyond traditional construction methods by embracing digital transformation and advanced manufacturing and assembly techniques. The adoption of integrated digital delivery for all new developments has grown significantly from approximately 20% of gross floor area in 2020 to 76% in 2025, exceeding our target of 70% under the Built Environment Industry Transformation Map. Similarly, the adoption of design for manufacturing and assembly has also increased to 76% of new developments by GFA in 2025, exceeding our 70% target. For engineers, this means working with sophisticated digital tools that enhance design, precision, reduce errors, and enable more efficient project delivery. Building on this momentum, we are taking our commitment to innovation even further. MND recently announced the formation of an action team to improve built environment productivity, comprising industry partners and various agencies. Amongst other things, the action team will explore how advances in AI and robotics can transform the way we plan, build, and maintain buildings in Singapore. In the coming months, the action team will be consulting with various stakeholders across the built environment value chain. We want to hear your ideas and suggestions on how we can harness technology to create safer work sites, reduce costs, improve productivity, and open more exciting career opportunities for engineers. This technological transformation will not replace engineers. Instead, it will empower engineers to tackle more complex challenges and create solutions that were previously impossible. Enabling our engineering profession to thrive requires more than just technological advancement. We also need to shape a broader ecosystem which allows our engineers to grow and innovate, as well as for their ideas to flourish. And that's why we have made pro-enterprise rules review a key priority for the government. My colleagues and I regularly meet industry stakeholders to hear your feedback and suggestions on how we can work together to transform our regulations and processes. Through this partnership, our built environment professionals can operate more effectively, and the government can ensure that our regulations achieve their intended outcomes without imposing undue burden on the industry. I'm pleased to announce that our agencies have harmonized their service standards for temporary occupation permit and certificate of statutory completion inspections. Previously, agencies have varying response times on scheduling of TOP inspections and follow-up responses. The publication of the harmonized service standards provides the industry with greater timeline certainty for TOP and CSC inspections. This is crucial for project budgeting and planning for your projects. This results in savings of up to 3 days for each application, benefiting around 900 applications annually. These harmonized standards will also be supported by CornetX's centralized booking system, where project parties can view and monitor their inspection booking requests. Additionally, we are implementing an escalation framework to track TOP and CSC applications with multiple written directions under CornetX. This framework will ensure that applications involving conflicting agency requirements are actively surfaced for timely resolution, reducing iterations and achieving faster clearance times. This streamlined approach reflects our commitment to supporting the built environment sector with clearer processes and predictable timelines, enabling engineers and firms to plan more effectively and focus on creating innovative solutions. As we create more efficient business processes and embrace technological innovation, we must also ensure that our engineering solutions serve a larger purpose, building a sustainable future for generations to come. Sustainability is an engineering challenge that requires the best of our profession's problem-solving capabilities. Our approach to sustainability in Singapore focuses on 2 key areas where engineers can play a crucial role. First, we are investing in climate mitigation. Our built environment decarbonization technology roadmap contributes to this by guiding our efforts towards achieving the Singapore Green Building Master Plan 80-80-80 targets by 2030. We need all of you. We need our engineers to contribute your skills and expertise to enhance the overall sustainability performance of our new and existing buildings, working towards various standards under the SGBMP, such as the Green Mark certification scheme. Projects like the Samwo Smart Hub, Singapore's first office building to achieve Green Mark Positive Energy Building certification, demonstrates that engineers are not just building more efficiently, but reimagining what buildings can be, with over 80% energy efficiency improvement compared to 2005 levels, as well as on-site solar energy generation that is 25% more than the building's energy consumption. The project is setting new benchmarks in energy performance and return on investment. Second, we're stepping up our efforts in climate adaptation to build a climate-resilient nation. One of the ways that we're doing this is through climate resilient design. As a low-lying nation state, Singapore is particularly vulnerable to rising sea levels and heat, increasing rainfall intensity, and extreme weather events. All of you have experienced this yourself in the past few weeks and months. Our engineers therefore play critical roles in building infrastructure to keep Singapore safe and comfortable through implementing flood prevention solutions and urban cooling strategies. Engineers must also remain open to new and innovative ways of adapting to climate change, including advanced construction methods and materials that can withstand the test of extreme weather events. While we focus on transforming Singapore, the impact of our engineering expertise extends far beyond our shores. Singapore firms are contributing to urban transport projects in China, waterway transport projects in Bangladesh, and renewable energy infrastructure across Southeast Asia, improving millions of lives across the region. The ASEAN Power Grid initiative exemplifies this global impact. Our engineers are designing cross-border power interconnections that will bring reliable, affordable energy to over 680 million people, powering economic development across the region. This global engagement enriches our local engineering community, exposing our professionals to diverse challenges and innovative approaches that enhance their capabilities when they return home. So in conclusion, let me say, the future of engineering in Singapore will be transformational, where engineers will reshape not just our built environment, but our relationship with technology, with nature, and with each other. I encourage each of you to think beyond your immediate projects and consider your role in shaping our future. Mentor students and young engineers. Share your passion for the profession. Demonstrate the lifelong learning mindset essential for today's engineering challenges. Show them the purpose of engineers. Your experience and guidance can shape the next generation of engineers who will tackle tomorrow's challenges with both technical expertise and digital fluency, creating solutions that will serve not just Singapore, but the world. The future is not something that happens to us, but something that we engineer. And with your expertise, creativity, and commitment, that future will be extraordinary. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister. So we just want to invite you to remain on stage to receive a token of appreciation. And so to do so, may I also invite Engineer Chan Eugene, our President of the Institution of Engineers Singapore, and Mr. Lim Kok Yang, our Principal and CEO of Singapore Polytechnic, on stage, please. So thank you so much, Minister, for joining us and gracing our event today. Thank you so much, gentlemen, as well. So may I also kindly request that Engineer Chan to remain on stage while we also invite Mr. Mervyn Srisana, our Chairman of WED 2026, CRDGL, and Deputy President of the Institution of Engineers Singapore, to come on stage and join us for our next segment, which is the unveiling of our IES 60 logo. So the Institution of Engineers Singapore celebrates its Diamond Jubilee, marking 60 years of engineering excellence and its vital role in Singapore's nation building since 1966. So to honor this historic milestone, IES will be unveiling a commemorative logo that symbolizes the institution's rich legacy and vision for a sustainable and tech-driven future. So this logo will also serve as a centerpiece for its Jubilee celebration, representing the strength and innovation of the engineering community. It reflects IES' commitment in nurturing talent and driving progress across the entire industry. And as the heartbeat of Singapore's engineering profession, IES leverages on this anniversary to bridge its storied past with a future of transformative possibilities, ensuring engineering remains a key pillar of national growth. So now to officially unveil the IES 60 logo, we have all our distinguished guests here. So can we invite all of you to place your hands on the launch podium? In the moment, I'm going to count to 3, and at the count of 1, we'll all press the launch button together. So all count down together, all right? In 3, 2, 1. That's awesome. I love how this video truly shows us bridging the past as well as the future. Can I also invite all distinguished guests to stand at the pillars so we can take some group photos together with the commemorative logo as well? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, yes. So thank you so much all distinguished guests, and Minister Indranee, can I invite you to please reign on stage together with me? You can pick which one you would like. Just Minister Indranee would, yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And next, we want to invite Mr. Lim Kok Kyang, our Principal and CEO at Ngee Ann Polytechnic, as well as Ms. Isabel Chong, our ASEAN Senior Vice President of Siemens Digital Industries, to be on stage for our MOU signing on Ngee Ann Polytechnic and Siemens partnerships. So this is part of the future of engineering that Mr. Lim was talking about earlier in his speech, having more partnerships and collaborations moving forward to enable more opportunities for students as well as for our future engineers in this space. All right, thank you so much. May we also invite everybody on stage to move in front of the table so you can take a group photo together. Thank you so much. Shall we give another big round of applause to seal in this partnership? Thank you so much to all our distinguished guests. You may return to your seat. And now is the time where we move on to our first distinguished keynote address of 2026 IES Charles Rod Distinguished Global Lectures. It is my great pleasure today to invite Dr. Beki Banggu, our operating partner, Emerging Technologies of Temasek Holding, on stage to deliver his address. Dr. Beki, please.
Your Excellencies, friends of IES and NP, distinguished guests, fellow engineers, technicians, scientists, and students. It is a real privilege to stand before you today at the Charles Rudd Distinguished Global Lecture in celebration of UNESCO's World Engineering Day. Charles Rudd believed engineering was more than a career. He believed it was a public good. His generosity was not simply financial, it was philosophical. He invested in the future of engineering because he understood that engineers shape society. And today, the responsibility has never been greater. We are living through one of the fastest technological accelerations in human history. Artificial intelligence is evolving at breathtaking speed. Autonomous systems are moving from pilot projects into daily operations. Drones are inspecting infrastructure, supporting maritime operations and monitoring coastlines. Advanced materials are being discovered not in laboratories alone, but by algorithms. Generative AI adoption has already reached 70% of firms in some functions. But behind all of this lies something deeper, something that connects every one of these breakthroughs. I describe it as digital power, the intersection of three forces: energy, compute, and control, where the intersection is a systems engineering challenge and where progress is needed. But there is a paradox. We are attempting the world's greatest energy transition at the same time as the world's greatest energy demand surge. Global AI spending has surpassed $1.5 trillion US. Big tech capital expenditure alone reached $320 billion. AI data center demand is forecast to grow by around 160% by 2030, and data centers may soon consume as much electricity as whole of Germany. Yet over 80% of the global primary energy source still comes from hydrocarbons. If we do not accelerate clean energy, AI will be powered by fossil fuels. That would be a profound contradiction. Let me share something personal. Over the course of my career, I've had the extraordinary privilege of working on next-generation technologies: fuel cells, wind power, tidal generations, the electrification of gas turbine engines, and nuclear power. I've stood inside facilities where engineers were trying to extract energy from hydrogen with zero emissions. I've visited wind farms where blades taller than skyscrapers turn silently against the horizon. I've seen tidal systems designed to capture the predictable rhythm of the ocean. I've watched some of the smartest people I've ever met work on nuclear technologies where the challenges was not whether we could generate power, but whether we had the courage to scale it responsibly. In every one of those experiences, one lesson stood out. Technology does not move because of ambition alone. It moves because engineers solve the hard problem: cooling systems, material fatigue, grid integration, power density, safety redundancies. The breakthroughs that matter most are never the ones that make the front page. They're the ones that make the systems work. As president of the UN Global Compact Network Singapore, I see the global sustainability agenda up close. And I will say this candidly: sustainability today is harder than it was 5 years ago. Growth pressures are intensifying. Supply chains are fragmenting. Carbon pricing debates in some countries remain politically charged. And some companies, even some countries, are stepping back from climate commitments in pursuit of short-term profitability. But the winner of this decade will not be the one who maximizes short-term margins. The winner will be one who delivers inclusive profitability. profitability that strengthens resilience, reduces emissions, lifts productivity, and protects communities. Inclusive growth is not a charity, it is strategy, and engineers are central to delivering it. Net zero is no longer an environmental slogan. It is central to the industrial strategy. The International Maritime Organization is introducing global emissions pricing for shipping. The United Nations is calling for a 43% emissions reduction by 2030. New funding mechanisms are emerging to close the $1 trillion transition gap. But the real question remains: who builds the infrastructure? Who designs the grid? Who integrates clean fuels into ports? And who ensures safety systems function flawlessly? It's engineers, always engineers. For decades, the digital world rode the wave of Moore's law, the idea that shrinking transistors would steadily deliver more computing power at lower cost and better energy efficiency. As chips become smaller, computing becomes faster, cheaper, and even more efficient. But that era is changing. Shrinking transistors no longer deliver the same gains in energy performance. As compute density rises, so does heat. Thermal management has become a fundamental constraint. We are now confronting what I call the heat wall. At the same time, demand for computation is exploding. Every new AI model requires vast more compute, which in turn requires vast more electricity. Cooling alone can account for 20 to 40% of a data center total energy consumption. AI's demand curve is exponential. What looks like a software revolution is, in reality, an energy and infrastructure revolution. Escaping that heat wall requires breakthrough on multiple fronts: photonics and optical interconnects, wide-gap semiconductors like silicon carbide and gallium nitride, a market growing at 34% annually towards $10 billion by 2030. It will require advanced cooling architectures and solutions like solid-state transformers that are 80% smaller and exceed 98.5% efficiency. And underpinning all of it, we need clean baseload energy. Global nuclear investment has reached $70 billion, with 50 to 70 small modular reactors expected globally by 2035, and over 80 projects in current development. This is not abstract. This is material science, power engineering, and thermal management. This is what engineers, technicians, and scientists in the room build every day. Let me bring this home to Singapore. Singapore does not control oil reserves. We do not control rare earth mines. But we control something equally powerful: integration. In March 2025, Singapore and Rotterdam expanded their green and digital shipping corridor to deploy low-carbon fuels and digital port infrastructure along one of the world's busiest trade routes. This is not just a diplomatic announcement. It's an engineering challenge. To decarbonize maritime corridors, we must develop sustainable fuels, upgrade port infrastructure, integrate digital optimization systems, ensure safety standards, manage grid loads, and protect coastal resilience. It requires collaboration between fuel producers, port authorities, shipbuilders, grid operators, and digital platforms. It requires policy alignment. But most of all, it requires engineers who can turn ambition into solutions that work. A powerful example that already surrounds us today is the Singapore MRT network. The system we rely on daily is the result of decades of engineering integration. Civil tunnels, power systems, signaling technologies, operations and control, and long-term urban planning. It works not because of a single technology, but because thousands of engineers and technicians designed a system that works reliably for millions of people. Singapore's advantage has always been disciplined execution. We align capital, we align policy, and we empower engineers to build. In Singapore, engineering is not separate from national strategy. It is how the national strategy is delivered. AI increases energy demand, but AI is also the tool that can accelerate our response. AI can optimize grid stability. AI can reduce research and development cycles. AI can discover materials with breakthrough efficiency. Companies like Cusp AI are using artificial intelligence to discover entirely new materials, whilst PhysicsX is applying AI to simulate complex physical systems, cutting years of traditional engineering analysis down to minutes. Scaling AI requires engineers who understand both digital and physical systems. AI without engineering discipline becomes hype. AI with engineering rigor becomes transformation. If we fail to build clean baseload capacity, we will fail to modernize grids. If we fail to scale sustainable fuels, the world will default to hydrocarbons. Reliability will trump sustainability, and the carbon curve will not bend. But if we act decisively, if we invest in nuclear, renewables, storage, and modern grid infrastructure, if we train the next generation in energy and compute integration, then sustainability becomes a competitive advantage. Countries that invest will define standards. Standards become trade advantages. Trade advantages become industrial advantages. And industrial advantage becomes prosperity. And this brings me to the most important constraint of all, talent. Across the world, demand for engineers, technicians, and scientists is accelerating. The energy transition, digital infrastructure, advanced manufacturing, and AI systems all require deep technical capability. Countries that align energy, compute, infrastructure, and talent will define the next industrial era. We must ensure our polytechnics, our institutes of higher learning, our research institutes, and our industry clusters produce engineers who can translate AI into industrial value. Engineers who understand systems integration, energy infrastructure, digital technologies, and resilience. But ultimately, the future will not be built by algorithms alone. It will be built by people with the skills to turn ideas into systems that work. So let me speak directly to everyone in this room. To the students, choose problems at the intersection of energy and compute. That is where the defining challenge of your generation lies. To the technicians, your precision ensures reliability in a high-voltage world. Never underestimate how much a system depends on your skills. To the scientists, your breakthroughs in materials determine what becomes possible. Every efficiency gain you unlock changes that equation. And to the engineers, you are the bridge between discovery and deployment, the ones who turn theory into infrastructure and powers nations. And to the leaders, provide long-term certainty, provide risk underwriting for infrastructure, create space for engineers to build, because without talent, no policy will succeed. Digital power is a team sport. Breakthroughs happen when academia, industry, entrepreneurs, and policies act together. The future will not be decided only by algorithms. It will be decided by engineers who build the systems to power them. Charles Rudd understood something fundamental. Engineering is not neutral. Engineering shapes the arc of history. The first industrial revolution was powered by coal, the second by oil and electricity, the third by compute. The fourth, and our era, will be powered by clean energy integrated with intelligent systems. But clean energy is not yet abundant. That means this revolution will not happen by default. It will happen by design, your systems, your code, your materials, and your discipline. If we get this right, Singapore can lead in smart engineering for a sustainable future. If we hesitate, AI will be powered by yesterday's fuels. Let us build a future where energy is clean, compute is efficient, and growth is inclusive. Let us honor Charles Rudd, not just with applause, but with the systems that we will engineer into the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ricky. So we're going to present you with a token of appreciation as well to thank you for your time as well. So now may I invite Engineer Chan Eugene, our president of the Institution of Engineers Singapore, on stage to present the token of appreciation. Thank you so much, Dr. Vicky, and also Engineer Chan. It is now also a great privilege that we present our second distinguished keynote speaker for the 2026 IES Charles Rudd Distinguished Global Lectures. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Han Ping Zheng, our Head of Science and Technology Network of British High Commission, on stage to deliver his address.
Hi, very good morning to everybody, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues from the engineering societies, and everyone else in the audience today. I've got actually some slides, so I hope this is a little bit more interactive with everyone in the audience after sitting for a while. Before I start, just want to check, who in the audience has been to the UK? If you could just raise your hand, stretch a little bit, you've been sitting for a while. Wonderful. So today, my talk is going to be a little bit about the UK, our perspectives on the future of engineering, as well as the importance of international collaboration. It will be a mix of UK geography, a bit of engineering history, some reflective insights, future outlook, and a dose of collaborative sharing. So to start off, So to start off, the formal name of the UK is actually the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It's made of 4 countries, so if you ever wondered why in international competitions and sports you've got Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, or England playing in rugby, football, and all of that, that's primarily, this. So the UK has sort of like 4 teams compared to Singapore when you're doing international stuff. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this talk will focus on one part of England in the middle of it, which is known as the Midlands. Now, the Midlands is a region in England with a long history of making things for the world and still remains one of the biggest engineering regions today within the UK. It sits in the middle of England, so connecting the north and the south of England, and it's blessed with a combination of natural resources, connectivity, and talent, which if we go back more than 3 centuries ago, These factors were instrumental in helping to catalyze one of the most significant step changes in modern human civilization, which, as we all know, is the Industrial Revolution. Now, the Industrial Revolution started with the invention of the steam engine and the subsequent development of factories that shifted productivity from small shophouses to large factories. And those large factories first appeared in the Midlands. Mass manufacturing has changed the way we live, we work, and we travel, leading to more affluent lifestyles for people in our societies. Factories and machines delivered economic progress. And economic progress set the foundations for technological advancements, many of which we make use of without even realizing. So I'm going to do another little exercise here. I believe we can all agree that engineering has changed the world. But perhaps for the time being, if you could all just sit back, relax, and close your eyes for a while. And if you have your eyes closed, do not sleep. We're still going to do a little bit of a prompting here. Take a moment to think about what you did this morning before you came here, right? When you got out of bed, when you went to the bathroom, you washed your face, you brushed your teeth. Someone, some engineer somewhere, had to design the plumbing system, calculate the water pressure to get up into your tap, to let you have that cup of water in the morning. Now, when you left your house, you took some sort of transport to come over, be it the MRT, the taxi, or you drove by yourself. The vehicles themselves are marvels of engineering, but the traffic infrastructure around it, it's also a fundamental result of all the engineering work that has gone through over the decades and centuries. Now, open your eyes and look at this hall itself, the structure, the sound systems that you're hearing from the speaker, this microphone that's amplifying my voice, even the screen up there. These are all the products of engineering, and I think we should really appreciate all the hard engineering work that has come about from all the expertise that have been, combined together to get us to where we are today. And we shouldn't just be, blaming the LTA when the train breaks down, but, appreciate that there are engineers working early in the hours of the morning to just make sure that we have our next train right. So my point here is that we need to appreciate that our way of living today is a result of the great work of all the engineers, but with every upside, there is a downside. And so economic progress and growth has consequences. We live in the legacies of the industrial revolutions, and it is clear that we now need to factor in our environment when we balance the costs and benefits of societal progress. Our pursuit for economic prosperity will be meaningless if we end up in an inhabitable world. So it's important that we innovate ethically, sustainably. Early engineers were not careless. They simply lacked what we know today. Today, we understand environmental impact. We understand carbon footprint, which means that modern engineering must design solutions that work for both people and the planet. The Sustainable Development Goal 9 was mentioned, which is about building resilient infrastructure, promoting inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and fostering innovation to drive economic growth and development. Fortunately for us, all the progress we've had over the years has created new tools and technologies that can help us, transition to this new future. We need to think smart, think digital, and think long-term, and perhaps strive towards a new industrial revolution, emphasizing sustainability and responsible innovation for long-term global benefit. Engineers can now use data, artificial intelligence, advanced materials to create systems that are efficient, adaptable, and environmentally friendly. A sustainable approach will ensure that progress benefits both people and the planet. And so to bring you back to the Midlands, this is what it looks like today. The region remains at the heart of UK manufacturing and advanced engineering. It accounts for 20% of UK manufacturing output through world-leading business and industry. With some of the companies listed there, you should be familiar with them. It is a high export economy that generates £49 billion annually and delivers more than 222 billion gross value add to the UK. And the reason the Midlands remains, it's because it never stopped engineering. It evolved. Today, it works on clean transport, energy systems, medical technologies, and advanced manufacturing. And this is all supported by strong links between universities and industry. On the subject of transport, the West Midlands boasts one of the UK's largest automotive sectors, with 1,000 companies employing more than 30,000 people making cars, engineering parts, and developing state-of-the-art EV and battery technologies. So the region is focused on keeping their motor industry at the forefront of the transition to electrification. Now, I'd love to go into details about all the stuff that Midlands is doing and wider UK, but in the interest of time, I'll just focus on one other initiative that they're looking at, which is hydrogen. So at Cranfield University, there is the Hydrogen Integration Incubator. So I was fortunate to have actually had the chance to see it in person. I'm not sure if you can see in the picture, but at the very top, there are some cars. So for a sense of scale, this is quite a massive pilot. And what they're doing there is to develop hydrogen solutions for aviation. The fun fact about Cranfield, if you don't know, is that it is the only university in the whole of Europe that has its own private airport. So if you have a private jet, not sure how many of you do, you could actually fly in there and land and go visit. The other one to mention is at Nottingham. They have a hydrogen propulsion laboratory where they are testing green fuels such as hydrogen and ammonia and other new fuels. At Kiel, they have a green hydrogen generator, which is working to produce hydrogen from excess clean energy. So rather than traditional energy storage, this is trying to keep your energy in the form of hydrogen. And so it's quite a fair bit of research and just got launched in January 2026. And all these universities won't be able to work alone, as with engineers, academics, people. The Midlands also boasts regional networks to drive a regional approach to developing innovative solutions to some of our greatest challenges. An example, as you can see, the Energy Research Accelerator, Midlands Innovation, Tyseley Energy Park, each bring with it its own goal of curating the right networks of people to have meaningful discussions and partnerships. And there are many more across the UK that support us to work internationally. And collaborative partnerships are essential because the challenges of modern engineering are numerous and no one can do it alone. So many of our challenges are complex and interconnected. Modern engineering problems require addressing climate, energy, health, together through multidisciplinary methods. We also have to balance multiple priorities across technical, social, and environmental factors while managing competing demands and rapid change coming from your bosses, from your stakeholders, from the government even. Fortunately or not, we now have digital tools and emerging technology to help us. To help us to collect data, monitor trends, provide predictive analytics, and more. But we should remain vigilant that our reliance on emerging tech doesn't become total dependence. For instance, we need to learn to make use of AI tools to boost productivity and leverage it as an enabler rather than rely on it entirely to make our decisions. There are some interesting studies that have been published recently about the impact of relying on AI on brain development on young children and adults. And I think it's worth a read, but that's a separate topic entirely. More importantly, it's vital that we work together. We need to break down silos across disciplines and sectors, consult extensively across groups, encourage cross-sectoral pollination of ideas and knowledge sharing, and develop the appropriate international cooperation mechanisms to solve shared global engineering challenges. And for the last part of this talk, I'd like to share some of the work, the bilateral work that my team is doing at the High Commission across some cross-cutting topics. And these were just all taken place in the last 3 weeks. So the first example I have is a collaborative project between the University of Sussex, the 6G Net Zero Lab with the Singapore University of Technology Design, Honda, and NeuroRAN, a startup within SUTD, where we are supporting the joint development of a new generation of technologies for future connectivity, bringing together researchers and industry for cross-border discussions and proof of concept work. And we did the demo showcase 3 weeks ago. The next one I just want to share is a workshop that's led by the University College London and the National University of Singapore, where together with the Centre for Livable Cities, who kindly hosted us, brought together a diverse range of stakeholders for one part of the series of discussion, looking at designing modern infrastructure for age-related challenges, such as dementia. So what was significant about this was we brought together a mix of representations across academics who came from architecture, civil engineering, social sciences, policy officials from planning, R&D, land transport, health, and civil society. I think that's the bit we need to engage as well. The associations, the support groups, the people will actually benefit from the designs that engineers can produce. To have that very holistic discussion around a very real topic for dementia patients and caregivers that could potentially be solved by interdisciplinary engineering and design. And just last week, we welcomed the Royal Academy of Engineering to Singapore for a collaborative visit program with the Singapore Academy of Engineering around sustainable cities and future-built environment. We brought together these fellows, industry and government stakeholders in Singapore to learn and discuss about future challenges surrounding sustainable built environment. There's so much more we can do together, and that's just one part of the conversation we're having. And a very important topic as well as we anticipate the inevitable impacts of climate change. So I think right now we can agree that cross-sectoral collaboration across government, industry, academia, and civil society is fundamental to bring about change. And beneath all that, as all the speakers before had said, we need an engineering profession to deliver the real change to the world. And fundamental to the profession is talent. So this is a picture of my daughter playing with the toys on one of the evenings. I think we all start off as naturally creative engineers. So we need to ensure that engineering continues to be as fun and exciting and viable and an attractive profession as the next generation grows up. The world will be different in so many ways when that generation grows up. And they will be able to interact with the world and vice versa in ways we can't possibly imagine now. I mean, think about the smartphones that are an essential part of our life. Most of you are holding on to one, or it's in your pocket, or next to you on your lap. When I was a student or child in the 80s and 90s, I used to carry coins and a phone card. I had to memorize numbers, I had to find where the phone were, and I had to put in some manual analog way of dialing it and connecting it to the home. And I had to ask the person who picked up the phone to tell them who I wanted to speak to. We have gone past all that, and we're not doing this kind of things right now. So to progress collectively, we need to make sure that all of them, the younger generation, are ready for that kind of world without leaving any group behind. So thank you all for your attention, and I hope the profession continues to grow, innovate, and contribute positively to the progress and the future of our world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Han Bin. We'd now like to invite Engineer Chan on stage to present the token of appreciation as well for Dr. Han Bin for his address. Thank you so much, Dr. Han Bin. Thank you so much, gentlemen, as well. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we will now move into our panel discussion for this morning, talking about opportunities of emerging technologies for engineers and the future of engineering. This session explores how these technological shifts can unlock new growth engines for Singapore while opening richer, future-ready career pathways for engineers. This discussion takes place against the backdrop of Singapore's Budget 2026, which announced the formation of a new National AI Council chaired by PM Lawrence Wong, underscoring the urgency of providing strategic direction and to accelerate Singapore's AI agenda. This panel promises a forward-looking conversation on engineering leadership in the AI era, where innovation, infrastructure, and inclusivity must advance hand in hand. A key focus will be preparing the next generation of engineers with the skills and mindset to tackle future global challenges. And before we begin, please note that for the Q&A segment, we will only be accepting questions through Pigeonhole. Questions sent via Zoom chat or asked live will not be accepted. So to participate in our Q&A, kindly scan the QR code that's displayed on the screen right now and enter the password WED2026. That's WED2026 to access the Q&A platform. We're going to stick around here for about a minute so that we can have everybody scan and join us for our Q&A on Pigeonhole. And as you await, please join me in welcoming our esteemed panelists, Mr. Lim, our Principal and CEO at Ngee Ann Polytechnic, Ms. Wendy Tan, our Director, PME National Trades Union Congress, NTUC, Mr. Sharil Taha, our Member of Parliament, Pasir Ris Changi GRC, and Vice President, Strategy and Project Management Office at Singapore Aero Engine Services Private Limited, Professor Sriram Ramakrishna, Tsinghua Distinguished Chair Professor, Director of iWearable Center at Tsinghua University. He'll be joining us online as he's currently based in China. And of course, our moderator, Mr. Nelson Loh, Director of Aerospace Program Officer, Agency for Science, Technology and Research, A*STAR. And without further ado, I'll now hand over the session to Mr. Nelson and our distinguished panelists.
All right, a warm good morning to everyone, to our distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. All right, a very warm welcome to this session today. We're going to talk about the opportunities of emerging technologies for engineers and engineering. All right, so my name is Nelson Loh. I'm the Director for the Singapore Aerospace Program, hosted in A*STAR. I'm very honored to be moderating this panel today. All right. So this panel, we're going to discuss about how emerging technologies such as AI, advanced manufacturing, nanotechnology, smart systems, sustainability, how all these are redefining the engineering landscape and what this brings about the opportunities for engineers in the years to come. All right. In Singapore's context, our Senior Minister Lee Hsien Loong has announced the Research, Innovation and Enterprise 2030, just start of the year, setting aside 37 billion for R&D and also for talent development to support the local industry here in Singapore. There's also a refreshed National AI Strategy 2.0 for the next 5 years to strengthen Singapore as a global AI hub. All this push for emerging tech, all right, is allowing the engineers here. There are a lot of career prospects, very promising career prospects for engineers going forward. All right, without further ado, I would like to introduce my distinguished panel here, and they will be bringing perspective from industry, from the academia, and also from the workforce, development, and policy. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Lim Kok Kiang, the Principal and CEO of Ngee Ann Polytechnic. He has previously worked as the Executive Vice President at the Singapore Economic Development Board, where he has led industry transformation maps and also championed the Smart Industry Readiness Index for smart manufacturing. We have online, I'm not sure whether you all can see him. Yes, we have Professor Sriram Ramakrishna. He's the Director of the iWearables Center at the Tsinghua University. So he's joining us online today. He's a globally recognized pioneer in nanotechnology and also in smart materials, and also elected to several leading engineering academies. We have Ms. Wendy Tan, Director for Professionals, Managers and Executives at the NTUC. All right, her work is very important, all right, to enhance wages, our welfare, and also the work prospects for PMEs in Singapore. And she has overseen major youth and PME engagements initiatives. Last but not least, we have Mr. Shahril Taha, a Member of Parliament for the Pasir Ris Punggol GRC. Pasir Ris Changi, sorry. All right. Mr. Shahril is an engineer by training, and he serves as a Vice President, Strategy and Project Management Office with the industry. He has experience leading transformation and new facility projects in areas such as aerospace, marine, and energy-related industries. All right. A warm welcome to the distinguished panelists. Now, as we said, there is a Q&A session at the end, so please hold your questions. Or may I maybe request you to start putting in questions into the pigeonhole, so that at the end, in the last 15 minutes, we'll go through those questions. All right. Maybe to kick off the session, I would like to invite the panelists to share a bit of their perspective on this question. I mean, based on your experience, what you have seen so far, how are these emerging technologies creating opportunities for the engineers in Singapore? Maybe we'll have Mr. Lim first.
Hello, hi everybody. I'll try to keep this short. I think with the technology, I think we talked a lot about it this morning already. I think there are three opportunities. I think one area that I think we see engineering increasingly becoming is really engineering is increasingly becoming more and more intelligent. I think that's enabled by technologies, regardless of whether is it robotics, automation, data, digitalization, and now AI, right? So engineers and engineering is no longer about creating standalone tools, machinery, but really intelligent systems. So with that, I think there are two opportunities arising here. One is really in the whole area of advanced manufacturing or manufacturing transformation, if you like, where increasingly, with the deployment of technologies, we can really create smart factories, we can have, digital twins, optimization real time, or even preventive maintenance. So the whole advanced manufacturing landscape is transforming, and that, I think, creates lots of opportunities. Second area, pertaining to intelligent systems, is then really around the whole area about large systems and infrastructure, right? I think Minister talked a lot about it just now, whether is it transportation, built environment, healthcare systems. Increasingly, these systems are getting smarter and more sustainable, and that is really all enabled by technology. So whether from advanced manufacturing standpoint or large industry, infrastructure and systems, I think there are lots of opportunities that this can bring about for the engineering fraternity. Now, the third is a little bit more aspirational, and I think it's mentioned this morning as well. It's really surrounding this whole topic about climate change, energy transition, right? I think you being engineers, all of you will agree with me that if we want to reach net zero, it'll be quite challenging if we just think about using existing technologies and existing systems. So actually, there's a lot more innovation that needs to be put in, new systems to be reimagined or imagined for that matter, to create new solutions that will enable us to get even closer to net zero and to solve the energy transition problem. So that is the innovative aspects which I think technology has, and also, I mean, if you like, a big wicked challenge like global warming has brought upon us. So I think if you ask me, going forward in terms of opportunities for engineers, I think it is really about the scope of engineering being expanded. You are now expected to be not just system integrators, but innovators and problem solvers as well. So I think that's where really the excitement is. I would just end by saying that if we talk about excitement without talking about challenges, that's also not being fair, right? So I think there's still immense challenges involved. And to me, the biggest challenge is not about change, because I think as engineers, you are all very used to it. It's really the pace of change. I think the pace of change has accelerated. If you think from automation to digital to Gen AI, you can almost imagine the pace of change picking up. So the only way for us to really overcome this challenge is something that I think all of us talked about earlier in the day as well. It's not about tackling it alone. It's about tackling it in a multidisciplinary fashion, but it's also about tackling it as an ecosystem. So I think there are a lot of opportunities, but there are challenges. But I'm sure all the engineers here will actually rise up to the challenge. So with that, I stop here. Thanks.
All right, thank you. How about Professor Ramakrishna? Any opening perspective?
Hi, Nelson. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Wonderful. First of all, thank you, Nelson, for stepping in my role. I used to do your role for several years, managing this important panel session at the Charles Rudd Distinguished Lecture Series. I miss all of you. It's the first time I'm participating online. Before, I'm always there in the auditorium, engaging fellow panelists as well as the audience. Your question about the role of emerging technologies, I want to relate to my own personal life. I'm the first Singaporean, probably, as an engineer. After 30 years at the National University of Singapore, I recently moved to Tsinghua University, which is the top university in engineering and technology in China and probably the world. So what I see is emerging technologies are placed very high importance by countries like Singapore, China, USA, and a few others. So for engineers, it's an excellent opportunity that they embrace the emerging technologies and find their own way to contribute, impact, also create their own opportunities. Why I'm so confident is recent developments in the world. Nobody imagined 5 years ago, or even 3 years ago. But last 18 months, the world is completely changed. There is intense competition for science and technology-led innovation and economic growth. And I see that from the second largest economy in the world, that is China. And at Tsinghua University, which is spending close to $5 billion research money every year. That's what somebody told me. And emphasis is about deep technology, technology innovations, emerging technologies from an engineering institution. I like to repeat in a different way. Engineers need to understand, when I say engineers, they're both senior engineers as well as the upcoming young engineers. The world or the countries are caring for technology, self-reliance. They're also paying attention to upgrade their industries and companies, and also human capital. In fact, next week, or this week, I would be going to Vietnam on a World Bank meeting. Vietnam is trying to plug itself in emerging technological innovations, and that underscores how not only big countries like USA and China, small countries like Singapore, Vietnam, several others, see the importance of paying attention to emerging technologies, upskilling their engineers so that it contributes to their restructuring, repositioning their own industry. Also, self-reliance in technology-based innovation. Otherwise, they would be out of the gate. So I stop here because I know there are other panelists, plus you have lots of questions to ask. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Prof. Ramakrishna. Maybe I can now ask Ms. Tan to give her views on opportunities for engineers.
Hi everyone, and good morning. Hope everyone's still awake. I'll just add on. I think both my panelists earlier had mentioned a lot of very useful things, but I think, in my opinion, emerging tech are creating opportunities in two ways. First, creating new things to build, right? And essentially also evolving how engineering work is being done. And I see the strongest opportunities, and you know, the keynote speakers had actually alluded to it earlier on, is where the strongest opportunities lie where technologies meet the physical systems. So, you know, we drop the words, we talk about AI, automation, we talk about digital twins, for example, but these are not just tech trends, these are not just big words, but essentially they are reshaping sector jobs and skills. And I think this is where we need engineers, right, who are able to design, who are able to integrate, even improve these new systems. So I think essentially, engineers remain a very critical part, right, of our whole society. I think Min actually alluded to the fact that the success of Singapore's future actually lies with the success of where the engineering ecosystem and sector is actually going towards. And I think to that, it actually means your work just goes up the value chain. And I think there will be challenges in trying to bring you up to a next new level, but I think we can discuss this in the subsequent questions that arise. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Mr. Sharul?
Okay. First and foremost, good morning. We're still morning. So good morning to this big group of engineers. First time I've sat in such a huge group of engineers. So I'm really excited to be with fellow peers. So on that, where the opportunities lie, let me answer that question in two parts very quickly. First and foremost, before we touch on that, some of the speakers have mentioned before, we are in an era of unprecedented change. Change is occurring at every corner that we're looking at. Every day when we're opening up the newspaper, we'll read, those of you who still read newspaper now, okay, digital news. Change is happening everywhere, whether it's geopolitical contestation, whether it is societies are rapidly changing, whether it's aging population, whether it's demands of individuals. At every single segment, there is change. And as the saying goes, with change, there's always opportunity. And allow me to dissect that in two ways. One, opportunity in growing industries. So let's just take it as a pure vanilla. Scanning through this room, I see students. It's an equal mix of students, engineers, fellow peers, and also senior management. I was asking myself, what opportunities are people trying to understand a bit more about? Firstly, we take it at industry-specific level. Minister Indrani talked about the many different opportunities that is around us. The growth of the construction boom that's happening right now, that is a massive opportunity for civil engineers. The aerospace boom, semicon, sustainability solutions, all these are industry-specific growth sectors. So I hope that for our budding engineers out there, for our students, rest assured, there are opportunities available for engineers in all of these sectors, and every sector is screaming for manpower now. I've not heard of any industry sector that is saying, oh, I don't need that much people. Everyone needs more and more and more. Second, the second element of opportunity is how disruptive technology and change is bringing an added element of opportunity in this space. So while if we take it as pure vanilla, industries are growing, the added value of Singapore is how can we bring all of this together and put it together with the new disruptive technology like AI, digitization, nanotechnology, quantum technology, pull it together, bring together all the different elements into creating a unique value proposition for your organization, your company, that puts Singapore on the global map. We can't compute, we can't challenge in terms of population scale like China. We can't challenge in terms of compute scale like in the US, where you have chip manufacturers putting through massive data centers, crunching lots of calculations per second. We can't compute at the industrial scale of a lot of other countries where the industry is massive and big. But what we can do is we can compete in bringing things together. How does the research innovation comes together, pulling in industry expertise, pulling in organizations, pulling in IES, pulling in AI organizations like AIS. And that is where I believe the opportunity lies for us in Singapore, crafting the unique value proposition of what this disruptive technology brings for Singapore in the years ahead. I'll pause it there.
All right, thank you so much. Well, it's very heartening to hear all this because everyone is saying there's huge opportunities, not only when you talk about just AI or emerging tech, but there are also surrounding peripherals industry that will also be benefiting from this, from a spillover effect. Now, maybe you can move on to more about technology and the practice. Now, Mr. Lim, maybe drawing on your experience, you have done, leading on the industry transformation maps and also on Smart Industry Readiness Index. So, I mean, there are a lot of tools out there that can help engineers. So, what tools are there, do you think, that can help engineers to redesign or even upgrade the operations here for Singapore companies?
Well, thank you for the question. I'm not exactly sure whether I'm the best position to answer that, but I think if you allow me to kind of like draw back a little bit to my own experience earlier, working on the index and also on the transformation map, I think what a lot of companies face at that point in time when you think about adoption of I 4.0 and also smart manufacturing, it's often not what it is about or why do we need to do it, but it's often to try and answer the question of how. Where do I start? How do I get started? And I think that is precisely the question that we attempt to answer through some of these mappings and also through the tools, in the hope that it does two things. One thing is that hopefully the tools will provide a sort of common language for people in the industry, for engineers to talk using a certain framing, a certain language that is common to everybody, whether it's I 4.0, whether it's automation and so on. And the second part is really to also enable some benchmarking to be done. So if I look ahead, right, and the reason why we do all that is also because of three reasons. Because when you think about technology adoption, it's never about the technology. It's often about the people, the process, then the technology. So having common language actually is very important because it enables the people to relate, and then it allows us to then use the common language to look at the processes before we decide what technology is applicable in that context. So if I fast forward to today, if you think about even the challenges or the opportunities posed by AI, I think we really do have to go back to look at these three things as well. It's never about the AI tool. It's also about the people, how people can work alongside AI, and also what process or what problem statements are you trying to develop and come up with in order to maximize the use of technology. So I think from that perspective, it's really about coming up with common languages and systems and frameworks that can allow companies to have a common language and to get started. And I think that part is actually the most important.
Yeah, agree totally with you. I mean, the adoption of it, how it changes your processes and so on, all these tools that will definitely help in that aspect. Maybe now to Prof. Ramakrishna. I mean, you are the frontier. You're in the frontier of technology, developing nano technologies, smart wearables. Now, are there any specific opportunity areas you feel that engineers can play in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, Nelson, absolutely. For many years, Singapore has done excellent job in precision engineering as well as advanced manufacturing. And I think moving forward, what we see is smart manufacturing. Even though we talk about it, we have a large gap in terms of engaging advances in robotics, automation, in further making our manufacturing companies world-class. I'm sure that fellow panelists who are already involved in the past in our economic development, they would also see that in the past we did very well, but I think moving forward, we need to keep pace with the drive that's being pushed by both USA and China. The gap is widening between those two and rest of the world. That's how I observe, because they have the economies of scale, plus they're able to control the supply chain and value chains. But that does not mean we cannot compete. So what I believe is we need to advance more actively in the following areas. For example, digitalizing our manufacturing industry and robotics, which hasn't been, even though we say we have the highest density of robotics in industry, I think the far more need to be done. On top of that, I think there is another area which is picking up very strongly is biomanufacturing or biotechnology-based manufacturing. Many of the petrochemical-based products, materials, will be very soon replaced by biomanufacturing. I actually see large-scale buildup and substitutes for petro-based materials. And you remember Singapore had large investments in Jurong Island, but I think there's going to be competition given the current turmoil in the Middle East. Also, the country is trying to have their own security by choosing alternative material systems. That provides the impetus for biotechnology, biomanufacturing-based new material systems. On top of that, another area which is going to pick up very soon is wearables. In the past, wearables are already it's a growing industry. It's very good for Singapore because for a long time, Singapore is very strong in microelectronics, and microelectronics is the base for wearables. But these wearables so far are focused on measuring activity as well as healthcare data of the body. But moving forward, they would need to be advanced to measure signals from the brain. So picking signals from the deeper segments of the brain, finer neuronal activity, which is where we're going to see major advances in wearables. Singapore with a large R&D mass. I know there are more than 50,000 research scientists and engineers and good investments in R&D. They could focus on how to advance wearables, not only look at body, but also looks at the brain. So one could imagine futuristic brain-machine interfaces that would enable us in terms of advancing futuristic communications, well-being of the people, given aging population. Also, more younger people want to be independent. They want to monitor their own activity and well-being data, and they like to access AI-generated healthcare advices for day-to-day living. So these are all trends that are coming up, and I think Singapore is well placed, provided we can make certain progress in that area. One last one is we have invested a lot and made significant progress in solar energy deployment. But I think new energy systems are emerging, and we need to also embrace new energy solutions, not only for Singapore, but also for the region, so that we can sustain economic growth and job creation.
All right, thank you. Now, we hear quite a lot from Professor on this topic, so there are new areas to really look at. Now, maybe just from a technology perspective, we have heard quite a bit now. Now, we have here engineers. I mean, there are a lot of this push for emerging technologies that are affecting engineers. So there are challenges. There are obvious anxieties as well. So maybe I would like to pose this question to Ms. Tan and Mr. Shahril is, what have you heard so far in terms of the challenges and also the anxieties that the engineers might have? And how do we overcome this?
Thanks for the question. So I guess the work that I do requires me to engage many workers on the ground, and that includes a lot of PMEs as well. So while I am not an engineer by nature, but we have had engagements where we also engage fellow engineers by ourselves. So I hope that some of the things that I share would actually be useful. So if we think about it, not too long ago, technology would replace physical, we talk about machines, right? Replacing physical manual labor, and that affected many blue-collar workers. Fast forward to today, technology has advanced to a stage where it can handle cognitive work, and that actually impacts PMEs, many of the PMEs in this room like you and I. And in Singapore today, we have about 43% of our workforce who are actually professionals, managers, and executives. So the anxiety is definitely there. And I think many of you would have also read Anthropic's article, Labour Market Impact of AI, that came out a few days ago, right? That there will be a hiring squeeze impacting certain groups of people, including younger workers, including older white-collar women, for example. So from NTUC's perspective, so speaking to the ground when we engage workers, the key concern is essentially job security. And job security driven by AI, by automation, but also driven by the fear of skills obsolescence, as well as economic uncertainties. When we further deep dive into different categories or different demographics, career stages of workers, for youths, what we are hearing on the ground is for people who are about to graduate, I think all of us here would know enough that the anxieties are there, right? Again, the impacts of AI are disproportionate. Certain sectors are really hit a bit more negatively at this moment, I would say, causing a lot of anxiety on the ground for the younger workers. But for young entrants, people who are first to fifth years of their working life, they still look forward to career progression opportunities, right? How do I go up the career ladder? How do I pivot up? How do I pivot out? And laterally and all as well. For mid-career workers, so many of us in this room here, over and above our daily work concerns, there are also caregiving responsibilities that many of our workers talk about, right? And for more mature workers out there, the young at heart, actually many of the feedback that I've heard personally is how can they get fairer opportunities in the workplace? So anecdotally, people tell me that they feel that they are passed over for training opportunities, maybe compared to younger, newer colleagues, for example. So that's one, fairer opportunities. And I guess essentially for mid-career and the older workers as well as retirement adequacy. But I think then all those aside, and all the concerns are valid, importantly is then what should we do about it, and where is my organization and NTUC actually looking at it? We think it's very important then that we should partner employers very closely for two key areas. Number one is training and transformation, right? How do we work with employers to go as upstream as possible? How do we gain as early as possible visibility of roles that might be impacted so that we can ensure that, workers get to transit, or whether you need to reskill, you need to retrain, or entirely put you in the totally new role within your company. But that is about training transformation. And actually in NTUC, we have what we call company training committees, right? Where we work together with employers to go through business transformation process, an ops tech road mapping process. But more importantly, after we go through the business transformation process, how do I ensure that the workforce is also brought along with this transformation? And we actually have worker representatives to give their voice as well. Because sometimes I think where the company or where the management or business might want to be heading at, I guess importantly, Prof, you're mentioning is always about the people as well. How do I also ensure that the workers' voice is taken care of? So we do have company training committees with very substantial grants, up to 70% for different kind of enterprise projects. If there are employers here and you're interested too, we can have a further conversation. So training and transformation, but the last part then, I think from the workers' perspective and being the labor movement is just transition, or what I call fair transition for all. I think it is our belief that AI adoption must go hand in hand with job redesign. But we are also very cognizant that we cannot protect all jobs, right? While we cannot protect all jobs, as a labor movement, we want to protect all workers. So if, let's say, job redesign doesn't work, how could we intervene early enough to help to do career coaching, to help to do proper job matching, so that your next employment actually carries on. So these are the kind of things that we're looking at. Yep.
All right, thank you. Mr. Shahril?
So maybe I just add on to what Wendy has mentioned. In trueness, if you talk to our workers, the anxiety that everyone is facing is real. And the anxiety perpetuates across the different segments. It's not only the more experienced workers are feeling this anxiety of being replaced, but even the younger workers are feeling anxious that I don't have the experience or the business context, and they only want to hire only the experienced individual. So the anxiety felt by our workforce is real. And how do we then, to Ms. Wendy's point, and it's not only just AI or automation that's causing this. If we just rewind back 2 to 3 years ago as we were coming out from COVID, remote working has changed the world, that has changed the way we do work also. My job, for example, can be done from a deck chairs in the Bahamas, right? A lot of our jobs as PMEs can be done everywhere else in the world. So the true question that we need to start asking ourselves is, what is our value proposition? How do we add value in this whole engineering value stream? What is the added value of us as engineers in all of this? And through asking those, I find that through asking those values, that's where we unlock quite a lot of the opportunities. Because the future of work for us engineers is not about transactional work. If you're a quality engineer, it's not just about, is this good or bad? How do you do sampling? If you're a design engineer, it's not just about design this particular structure that maintains this load. If you're a manufacturing engineer, it's not just about maintaining your SPC charts and making sure it's in line. But we need to then start asking ourselves about what is our added value as engineers in this whole value stream. And how can we use the tools that is available to create even more value for each and every one of us? And the opportunity comes to those who are able to take the skill set, whether it is the AI skill set, whether it is dashboarding, whether it is being able to craft your own boards, have the right skill set, adopt the right mindset. The opportunity will not come to those who just sit down and wait for the tasking from the manager. Or the opportunity will not come to that organization that is just waiting for the next innovation credit or the next productivity solutions grant to help you out. But the opportunity will come to those who then is able to bring all of this together, craft out the problem statement of what they are trying to solve, and then apply the technology in whichever context to drive your business solution, to drive your business results. So it's almost like we're in a world of massive MMA right now. Anyone watch MMA before? MMA, in the ring, you can use anything, right? Jiu-jitsu, karate, wrestling, just to win the fight. We are pretty much in that space right now, where there's so many tools available, automation, AI, nanotechnology, all the different technologies really changing at a very rapid scale. But how do we then bring all of that together, identify very clearly what is our business problem, what are we trying to solve, and drive that solution? I think the opportunity will only come to those who are able to string everything in together. I just want to share a bit of experience. One thing that I hope for us here in IES, for us as engineers, we can start going back to our roots of problem solving and igniting that creativity and igniting that passion. A slight different cultural shift I face, and I've worked in Germany and in Europe, and I've set up factories in Germany, UK, and also in Canada. One thing in Singapore, because there's a lot of grants and schemes that's always available. When we start thinking about innovation, one of the first questions is, how much grant is available? Or how much upskilling or retraining grant do I get? Right? But when I was in Germany, where we were building a factory, the question they were trying to solve was, this is for quintessential survival. If I don't drive this productivity, if I don't drive this level of value addedness, this job will not be here. And with or without the grants, they want to go for it. So I think that is where, for us as engineers, as we start looking at systems, combining systems with the technology and applying the business context of what we are trying to solve, and defining what is Singapore's value proposition, or this region's, ASEAN's value proposition of engineering to the world. I think that's where you unlock the opportunity.
All right, very great analogy. I like the MMA analogy. It's very, very, very appropriate. I thought I want to summarize this part of the discussion because I hear a lot of things which I thought was very, very useful. I mean, a lot of us are thinking technologies are here to replace us. In fact, it's not. Technology is here to help us do our job better, right? To make, in fact, I mean, what I'm doing now, I'm doing R&D programs for aerospace companies. In fact, we are looking at a lot of the automation, analytics kind of research, right? To improve processes, to make current processes better, to help the technicians, the engineers out there in the field, right, to do an even better job. So actually, I think that is very important. Very, very good point that was raised. I thought I should share that as well. And obviously, there will be some who might be replaced inevitably, but there are safety nets, there are programs to help people switch career. So there will definitely be programs there to help. And at the same time, with all emerging technologies, there will be new areas that will be developed. There will be new career opportunities that will surface as such emerging technologies surface. So I think all in all, I think we should embrace emerging technologies that's coming, because I have not, for myself, I have not seen automation in the past, IT revolution. I mean, we are still here having a good job. So I think this will continue into the future when we adopt more and more of such emerging technologies. Yeah, so I thought I should do a quick summary, which I thought was very, very useful. All right, maybe I would like to go on to the next question on more about policies and programs that can help our engineers here in Singapore. I mean, we have touched a bit on that in terms of reskilling and so on. And also, of course, we saw the signing of between Ngee Poly and Siemens. And also, you mentioned about working with SimTech on training on some advanced manufacturing for mid-career switch, people who are switching. So I just maybe would like to ask the panelists to mention a bit more about, are there any other programs or policies that you think that can help engineers in this transition phase? Maybe Mr. Shahril?
Okay, all right. So suddenly all eyes on me. Okay, I think we are lucky that in our in Singapore there is a strong move and strong support towards driving this transformation. Very simply put, I mean, I know the buzzword right now is about AI, but bear in mind that Singapore has started the AI journey well ahead of time. In 2019. Singapore has already launched the National AI Strategy in 2019, and now we are in 2026. In 2023, MDDI then has converted the National AI Strategy, uplifted it into National AI Strategy 2.0, that focuses on what is the infrastructure, what is the skill set, and what is the applied innovation or applied problem solving that we applied areas for us to solve. So this is just one of an example of schemes and policies that's already there. And of course, you also have a very strong support for workforce transformation and also jobs transformation. And it's not just driven by AI alone. I think it is the fundamental belief for us in Singapore that in order to continue to have good jobs, in order for us to have good employment, we need to continuously evolve. we need to always be moving to the higher end of the value chain. So when we first started with semicon manufacturing, we were doing hard disks, and we were at the forefront of the industry for hard disk manufacturing. When hard disks then became flash drives and smart drives and everything, and USB drives, then we started moving in that space. And we continue to evolve, and most importantly, it's not about just evolving the business itself, but rather the upskilling and the reskilling of the workers that supports that industry. So as we're moving into an era where remote working, where AI is there, where all the different technologies at, how do we then reskill and upskill our workers and our workforce? I think that's one of the critical elements. So some policies that are helpful in that space, as mentioned by Wendy, are things like our CTC grant, or our career conversion program that's administered by WSG, or the Productivity Solutions Grant, the PSG. And there's the thing in Singapore, there's an alphabet soup of acronyms that you can think about for any transformation that you're thinking about. We have an acronym for almost everything. The challenge is for organizations, for companies, to pick out what suits best for you. We have OTR, Operations Technology Roadmap, right? To figure out how do you get from this point today to where you need to be in the future. We have SIRI, which is the Smart Industry Readiness Index, right? To then determine, benchmark, what is your company's position today in terms of your infrastructure, in terms of skill set, in terms of the Industry 4.0 tools that you're using, and where you need to be in the future. And a very clear path of how we need to get there. So in Singapore, I don't think we're short of grants. Just name it any acronym. There we have with lots of it. But the challenge is, how do we then pick the right grants, and then execute it and deliver the business result? I think that's the challenge.
Great.
I'll just quickly chime in because they're screaming at us to please wrap up the session now. I think I just have three, hopefully, resources that all of you can take away today. But this is also in response to, actually, when you're talking about transformation, then what are the skills gap that we're thinking of actually closing today? So I think earlier on, what I gathered was, firstly, I think we agree. If let's say still back to AI, let's move beyond AI awareness today. It's about how we can apply AI to real workflows in our work today, right? That's one. And so in NTUC, we actually launched the AI Ready SG initiative just last month. And it actually has, we can call it a one-stop, right? We have training pathways, we have courses, and these are relevant to industry. And as well as if you're an NTUC member, right? Come June, you can enjoy up to 50% off your AI tool subscription. And I thought this was really very good because I want to use it as an NTUC member myself. So we have an AI Ready SG initiative. You can actually go and look up more on that. Number two, I guess, is many of you might be wondering what's next. There's so many things out there. Some of you know that your roles, your jobs might no longer be the same, right? On one hand, where your employers are really very forthcoming, very progressive, they will help you with the transformation progress. If they don't, right, or they're not as quick at the moment, actually, we also have, I would recommend career mentorship. So in NTUC, we also have a career mentorship program where we have about 1,500 career mentors from different industries. And mentees who have actually undergone the program have spoken very highly that, if anything, they gain the confidence to navigate better of where their next steps are. So that's career mentorship. And last but not least is, I want to plug then, of course, the IES NTUC flagship program. As I think it's important that engineers, where possible, you might want to think about moving beyond your execution roles to leadership, leading transformations, for example. So we do have the YELP, AELP, and GLP programs. Do consider signing up for that as well. Yeah.
Maybe just to quickly wrap up from a training and development side of the house, how we are supporting all these initiatives. Maybe taking a step back, for some of our young learners, training of the young engineers, I think we are focusing on three key things. First, we have to decide what are the anchor skills. There are still core fundamental skills in each domain that our learners will still need to build expertise in. So build the core. Second is build the critical core skills, which is about, I think Shahril mentioned just now, problem solving, critical thinking, reframing issues. How can we actually help enhance the soft skills out of the house? And the third thing then is about giving the learners a chance to be exposed to the latest technology, and in this case it's AI, but it could be not AI before, it could be other things in future as well, to make sure that in the learning environment they are able to interact with and learn to work alongside technology. So I think these are the three key elements that builds up any one of our curriculum. There has to be a balance, but we're going to try and do it better over time, and we'll continue to do so. Now, on the other hand, being a polytechnic, like all other polytechnics as well, we are also playing a big role in trying to support adult learning and workforce transformation. So that's the part whereby actually we're also working closely with industry to, if there's a need to look at transformation, to look at job scope transformation, job redesign, we try and come in and help a company and then help work with company to intervene from a training perspective as well. And just to end up with this, so there was a saying, not a saying, some research done to say that actually the critical skills part of the house, whether is it comms, whether is it critical thinking and so on, needs to be practiced. And if you're not practicing it on an ongoing basis, you actually lose some of the muscles. So I think one of the things we're working on is to make sure that we are able to incorporate some of these latest technology like Gen AI, even critical thinking, in all of our adult learning programs as well, whether is it full qualification or whether is it in short courses that we do in collaboration with companies and the union and the side of the house. So I think that's just to round up to say that beside the support and what the company needs to do, there are a lot of education institutions and research institutes that stand ready to come and support this effort from the other perspective as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I would like to give some justice to the questions that were raised in the pigeonhole. So maybe I'll just appeal to the organizers, give us 5 more minutes. All right, I think in the pigeonhole there are quite a lot of questions inside there, and some of them I would say that have been answered, like things like, how does you see the role of engineers evolving with AI over the next 10 years? I think we have answered that quite a fair bit in terms of how AI can help us in our processes, how it can help us in redesigning how we do things and supporting us. All right, and then also about how government is putting in more resources in grooming the engineers, be it in grants, be it in training. So I think there are quite a number of questions that have already been answered. But I think there's one particular one which has the highest vote. I don't think we've really addressed that. Quite interesting question. Is it on the screen now? Yes, okay. With cheap and advanced engineering solutions available from engineering companies in China, all right, how can Singapore companies and Singaporeans continue to thrive in engineering? Maybe this question is very applicable maybe for Prof. Ramakrishna, since you're in Tsinghua University. you're very much in tune with the, how things are going on there in China. Maybe you would like to give your perspective on this?
Yeah, thanks for this. I think it's a very important question. I think not only Singapore, ASEAN, European countries, including US, they realize many of the technology products coming out of China, rapidly improving their quality as well as durability. You can see that in the domain of EV vehicles, electric vehicles and batteries and so on, as well as power systems, now AI and robotics. So I think the question is, if China generated cheap engineering solutions, how Singapore and companies can compete? I think it's a very important question, and this must be taken very seriously because, as I know, both China and USA, they decide to compete, and they want to compete on the high technology innovation, making it scalable. What China is trying to do is make these high technology work for very simple engineering solutions and daily use. That means you will see a lot more products coming out, whether it is textiles or garments to cars and everything, food and so on. So what I would like to say is, how can Singapore our engineers in Singapore specific and companies. First thing is, I think we are victims of our own success. You probably would agree with me. Singapore is the most comfortable place to live. And our universities, education institutions, polytechnics, ITs are very well run. They're world class. But the problem is we are too comfortable. We need to get out and get involved how competitively innovation is taking place. So one is if every Singaporean, if they have a chance, they should go to the leading centers, either in China or US, and spend more time, not just a few weeks, maybe 1 year, and see yourself what's happening. I've seen that how Israel plugged itself into the US innovation system for the many years, and they benefited in advancing their own technologies and also economic growth. So we had to find ways and means at the individual level, accepting not so comfortable places to live or work, but we should get involved and learn how they're thinking and how they're doing it. In terms of companies, I think competition is real. So the question is, how can they lower their cost structures and also innovate even better? There are two frontiers. One is they can embrace AI because AI is also sensitive to the culture. It is sensitive to the language and also thinking process. So whatever comes out of China does not mean that is universally adaptable because there are diverse cultures, diverse thinking. So again, so Singapore companies could provide that unique angle to that. Second one is they also have to see new frontiers, niches where they could innovate. For example, interdisciplinary way. It's much easier in Singapore than in other countries because we have a compact system. So it's more easy for us to work together. Of course, the incentives need to be further aligned so that people work much more closely from different disciplines. For example, healthcare professionals and engineers in advancing healthcare solutions for aging society or the mental health issues. So that such innovations require interdisciplinary approach, and Singapore is well placed. So I think companies should find a way to leverage collaboration across the sectors and find the innovations. They would be the market champions.
So I totally agree with Prof on the points he has mentioned. And I think when we think about competition globally, actually I'm not so worried about cost because that's something we are very used to competing on a global basis for many, many decades now. I think to me the worrying thing is speed. I think speed is increasingly important. I keep coming back to this point that it's not about change, it's about the speed of change. And I think then for Singapore, we just have to fall back to what we are actually have been doing very well in, right? And I think there are two things that I want to highlight here. One is really this whole notion about ecosystem. I mean, why is semiconductor companies in Singapore, why are aerospace companies in Singapore? It's not because of one standalone operations, but because there's an ecosystem of support from suppliers to customers to, union support to government support. So I think we just need to continue to recognize that there is a strength and that if we want to respond with speed, we shouldn't be looking at it as an individual unit, but look at it as an ecosystem and how, as an ecosystem, we can collaborate with each other so that we can deliver with speed. I think that part is our strength. We need to continue to build on that. We don't have a single drop of oil, but we have Jurong Island that has, a lot of petrochemical and refineries in Singapore, and it's because of this ecosystem approach. Semiconductor, likewise. I mentioned aerospace, likewise. The next thing I think we can, which we have always been strong in, is really about customizing the last mile solution. You may have all the engineering solutions, but do we understand the customer need? Do we understand what problem we're trying to solve? And that's an area where Singapore as a lead demand user has over the years in water and in some areas of technology, energy as well. But I think we have the advantage of being in the region and knowing the region, and hopefully it means that we are in a better position, may not be in the development of all advanced technologies, but putting it together, system integration, putting it together so that we can actually meet a consumer need and want. I think these two are our key strengths. We just need to continue to build on them in order for us to, be able to have a place in the sun to compete. So that would be my point of view.
Allow me to add on to that, because there's a very important point there that about creating that last mile solution. Not many places in the world can you say that we are that they can balance the needs of different countries at the same time. In this era of geopolitical contestation, right? Not many countries in the world is able to have both Huawei and Cisco on the same island, or Tencent, Amazon, Taobao on the same island. What Singapore does is not only with the last mile delivery, but also the trust that people have in us in Singapore. I think that is one of the critical factors as we pull everything together. The ecosystem, putting the ecosystem, the last mile delivery, and also the trust. Why do I want to make this point? Because the next era, the next stage is going to be quite a drastic step. Beyond AI, in the Global AI Summit 2 months ago, the clear conversation was about agentic AI, where AI is not just your ChatGPT. AI are bots in itself that can create this, that can propose the solution and carry out the solution, and it's self-learning, that agentic AI portion. So in all the systems that we are building right now, they need to start incorporating an element of AI and also agentic AI, but there is always that element of how is it learning, where is it learning, what is the code behind it, is it ethical? And I think that's where the branding of trust in Singapore has a very high premium to it. And I think how we can balance the needs of both the East and the West, combined with trust and strong regulatory requirements, will always forever, not I will say forever, will provide us with that unique value proposition in the world. And as we go out there, it's not to compete on volume or on low cost, but it's to compete on the strength that we have. And I'm fully confident that if we are able to leverage on that, if we are able to pull on that, and able to then leverage on the ecosystem of it, there will be lots of opportunities ahead for Singaporean companies. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to give a round of applause to our panelists for giving such wonderful insights to this topic today. I hope this session has given everyone in the audience, and also those who are joining, who has joined online, all right, especially the young, inspiring engineers. I hope this session has given you insights into what is to come and what we are doing to allow the engineers of the future in the world of AI, to continue to thrive in Singapore and build on the strength that we have here in Singapore. All right, with that, I'll conclude the panel discussion. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nelson, and also our 4 panelists for a very engaging and also very passionate discussion, right? So at this point, I just want to invite Engineer Chan and Mr. Mervyn Srisana, our organizing chairman of World Engineering Day 2026, featuring Charles Rudd Distinguished Global Lectures, on stage to present the tokens of appreciation to our moderator and also our panelists. Thank you so much for your questions as well. We hope that our discussion was really robust and was able to answer a lot of your concerns as well. Thank you so much. We also have a group photo together to commemorate this special discussion. Well, thank you so much to all our panelists, our moderator, and also Engineer Chan. So we invite our panelists to return to your seats. Engineer Chan and Mr. Mervyn. We want to make sure we get the best, right? Thank you to our panelists. But in the meantime, can I please invite Engineer Chan and Mr. Mervyn to kindly remain on stage? So before we conclude this morning's segment, we have a very special part that we want to invite our sponsors on stage to receive their token of appreciation from Engineer Chan and Mr. Mervyn. So now we'd like to invite our sponsors on stage to receive a token of appreciation. So first we have our gold sponsor, NUS College of Design and Engineering. We're gonna decide the best backdrop. So maybe, yeah, is that okay? All right, fantastic. So our gold sponsor is NUS College of Design and Engineering. Do we have a representative? It's all right. So I think we'll move on to our silver sponsor, which is Mitsubishi Corporation. Yes, no worries. We also have another silver sponsor, which is our SMRT Corporation. Well, now it's just turned to a photo opportunity for two of you. Well, there you have it, our sponsor. Thank you so much for joining us. Give us a minute while we get our token of appreciation ready. Of course, the photo opportunity is more important, right? So let's grab a photo first. We'll pass on the token of appreciation in a short while. No worries. Thank you so much for joining us and also for making this event possible. Thank you. And next we have our bronze sponsor, Pan United Corporation. Also have our next bronze sponsor, PSB Academy. And our next bronze sponsor, WeHer Holdings. Well, it's no worries that if they're not here, I mean, they really strongly supported our causes, and we just want to thank them by giving them another big round of applause for all our sponsors. But also, last but not least, we also want to acknowledge our bronze sponsor, JTC Corporation. They aren't able to be here, but of course, we greatly appreciate them as well. And thank you so much to both our gentlemen with more photo opportunities for the two of you. Thank you. And we've now come to the end of our morning program. We want to express our heartfelt appreciation to all of you here, and for those of you who are joining online and overseas as well. If you're interested in accessing event resources or viewing the recordings, you can check out www.charlesrudd.com. At this time, in order to maintain an orderly manner, we kindly ask that you remain seated just for a short while as we invite our distinguished guests to leave the hall first before we invite the rest of our participants to join us for lunch at the foyer area. Thank you so much. Our first few rows of VIPs to exit first. And if you are keeping track attendance for CPD points, please remember to clock out by completing the post-event survey that's displayed on the screen right now. So we invite the rest of our audience, all of our audience, to scan the QR code on the screen. Let us know your valuable feedback. Your insights are super important to us as we continue to improve our work as we see you again for the next year's lectures. And just a reminder, if you are attending the afternoon breakout activities, do gather at MPCC foyer of this building. Remember that the timing is 1:15 p.m., 1:15 p.m., and 2:30 p.m. respectively for your sessions. For those of you, if you did not manage to register earlier, no fret. Please remember to do so outside of this hall after you exit during your lunch break. Remember to join us on time for your respective sessions in the afternoon. And thank you so much for scanning the QR code and joining us in giving us valuable feedback so we can make this event even bigger next year. And as our VIPs exit, I would like to invite all participants to please enjoy your lunch at the foyer. And until we meet again next year, take care, stay well, and see you next year. Thank you.